Well, here we go again. I'm on the school run now. Had a middle-aged life for you, isn't it? Sitting in the school run, watching me other parents. Now, I'm quite an old parent in comparison, because this is younger. Yeah, obviously I'm older, a bit older in life, but yeah, I'm outside the school run. I've got here early, because if you need to park, you've got to park at least 4 days ahead to pick any child up nowadays, because of the amount of cars. Schools getting bigger, car parks aren't. That's life, isn't it, I suppose? But yeah, that's where we are. We're in the car park. Now probably some parents are looking at me going, he's got a weird gaming headset on. Because I borrowed my kid's gaming headset to do this, obviously, because why not? And it's just, it's just one of those things. And then, it's just, I don't know. Just in the car, aren't I? Just chilling. The aeroplanes are going over. And it's just more rambling. A good place. I've had some music playing. Now, yesterday I didn't do the talking, did I? Because I did a lot of talking yesterday. Spoke to some old friends. It was very nice. They're actually giving me feedback. It's always welcome. Feedback's always, well, I say it's always welcome unless it's mean, but we're all middle-aged. Well, we're probably not all middle-aged, but quite a lot of people probably listen to this middle-aged and they just don't care, really. We don't want to be angry about things. Well, we're all angry enough, as it seems. But anyway, so yeah, right, where were we? Page 17, weren't we? Now, you can read along at home. People have asked about this book. I've shown a few people the book to prove it is a real book, and they've all agreed it is just a marvel of literature, and it is a marvel of literature. Don't get me wrong. I know I say I hate it, but actually, if it wasn't for these books, then we wouldn't have a reference for other books, would we? So if you think about it, if everything, like 50 Shades of Grey, that's a terribly written book, awful book, absolutely awful. But everyone loved it. But so some books people like them. I don't know why. But I tried to read 50 Shades of Grey. Maybe I should do that one as the next book, because it's just painful to read. Not due to the contents, just because how badly it's written. The contents is just entertaining in itself. Maybe that should be the X-rated version of my podcast. Maybe we'll do an X-rated version, do the 50 Shades of man dying, middle-aged man dying. That'll be... Yeah, maybe we should do that. We'll think about that. That's a conversation to have with other people. But yeah, I can't remember where we're on. So we did have some feedback. People liked me asking Google questions, so we might have to do that at some point. But I'm in my car, so I don't have Google. And I've skipped doing the music as well, because if you're on Spotify, you get so many different versions, so it's just ridiculous. So if you want some music, just play some music beforehand. There you go. That solves that problem, doesn't it? I could recommend some music to listen to, but sod it. Who cares? Literally, who cares? So you've had 44. Well, you had 4 minutes. 44? No, 4 minutes of me rambling. And so I did read about how to do podcasts. So. Yeah, I didn't take any of it in, really. But they did say between 15 minutes and 30 minutes is good enough. So there we go, that'll do. And then the other thing was, I've got to use keywords. Now, being a middle-aged dad, I understand about keywords, but they don't tell you which keyword level we're meant to be using. So if it's keyword level 1, which is reception year, the podcasts aren't going to be that great. So maybe I'll do that as well. I will now start using keywords in my description. So please don't think I've gone completely insane when I use key level 1 or key level 2. I'm sounding a bit special. I sound a bit special anyway, don't I? Anyway, right, let's do this. We talked about handbags. Should knock it out with a handbag. Which front line is adjusting her rear view mirror. Yeah, we got there, didn't we? She knocked it out of her knocked it out with her handbag, replied Jane. Yep, we read that bit last week. So let's just go for it. Last week? Yep, the last episode, if you're staying up for it. I recommend kind of not listening to this at work, but as some people seem to be listening to it at lunchtime, I heard rumours. But if you could, you might want to try it in the evening, just before you go to bed. My dulcet tones just easing you to sleep. I'm not saying that she should have adjusted it, said Trevor. That is highly commendable. It's just that you wouldn't normally adjust it using both hands while driving along a road at 25 miles per hour. Well, she could be controlling the steering wheel with her knees, Trevor. You don't know, do you? Trevor looked at Jane fairly smugly, but his face immediately reflected panic as he glanced up the road. Oh, bloody hell, he exclaimed. What's the matter? Asked Jane. Quick, hide me, he said as he hurriedly switched places with her and crouched down to a concrete pillar that formed part of the frontage of a cinema, as if he was trying to conceal himself from someone. What's got into you? Jane asked, puzzled by his actions. Well, I think we'd all be puzzled by his actions. Well, we're puzzled by his actions anyway. It's Dave and Pete, he replied. They're walking up the road towards us. How dare Dave and Pete walk up that road? Jane looked up, and sure enough, Trevor's two best friends were nearing the head of a queue, just chatting to each other as they ambled along. Oh, I love an amble. People don't amble enough. Stroll, but ambling. Oh, I love an amble. We had a wassle earlier, didn't we? I think that was in... was that episode 1 we wassled? Was it in episode 2 we wassled? I can't remember, but we did do some wassling. Yeah, amble. Let's have an amble. I made an excuse not to go out with them tonight. They mustn't see me, he quietly said to Jane. Trevor took another step back in an effort to hide himself further, only to place his right foot into a rather large pile of dog excrement that was behind him. Ah, good, we've got some dog poo in here. That's what you need in a book, a bit of dog poo standing. Oh dear, oh, that's not excrement as well, not poo. It's such a shame we use excrement. Feces. Anyway, breaking the dried outer crust and covering his shoe with the moist inner stuff. So he's put excrement to make it sound more like more up class, and then gone straight into it's got a dry outer crust and the moist inner stuff. I think the inner excrement is not stuff; it's excrement. We've already addressed that. At the sound of a squelch, he looked down at the light brown mess that had been forced onto the sides of one of his new shoes. Right. I've never heard poo squelch when you stand on it. I'm not actually going to do this experiment. I don't think I could bring myself to do the experiment of standing in, just to prove him wrong, to go to stand in a load of poo and just see if it squelches. Cowpats, I'm sure, squelch when you stand in them. They're a bit more sloppy, but I'm not sure. And then he's gone, are we swearing? Yeah, we're swearing. Oh, shit. That's from the book, so we're quoting the book there. There we go, we quoted the book. He exclaimed rather loudly, momentary forgetting to keep his voice down. So, again, just the way that written. What's the natter now? Jane asked. I've just trodden in a pile of dog crap, and it's all over one of my new shoes. Now, if he's just said the S word 3 times, you would have thought, but he wouldn't have said crap about the dog poo. Suddenly, a total different voice entered the conversation. There's only one person I know who says shit like that, and that's my old mate Trev, came a voice from the other side of Jane. It was Dave. Dumb. He's been outed. Oh no, Trevor's in deep doo-doo. Trevor stood up straight, with a rather false smile on his face. Oh, hello guys, he said to Dave and Pete, who were standing next to Jane. Both of them were the same age as Trevor. All 3 guys had already met while they were attending junior school together, and had set up an endearing friendship. Oh, I love an endearing friendship. Not like a permanent friendship, like a strong, but an endearing one. Really? Endearing? Oh, that's endearing, isn't it? Oh, yeah, it makes me... I'm not happy. No. Dave was married and had 2 children. Sarah and Emma, aged 8 and 6, respectively. He was somewhat chubby and not as good-looking as Trevor, Dave is the ugly one. So how's the raging toothache, Dave sarcastically asked Trevor. Well, we certainly had to hand it to you. That's the best excuse we've had in a long time for you not wanting to go to a pub with us, Pete remarked. Pete was unmarried and girlfriendless. In fact, Pete had very few girlfriends. Oh. So right. So Dave's the sarcastic, chubby, ugly one, and Pete's just the one that no one actually fancies, and he's just like a bit of a, well, we presume he's the idiot. He was a great guy with a very happy-go-lucky personality, but had suffered from the ravages of chickenpox when he was about 12. Okay. Unfortunately, he was somewhat scarred from it, and the pits that were left all over his face tended to put the girls off him. Oh, great! So he's ugly as well, but he's disfigured. So that's beautiful, isn't it? Dave's fat, Pete's disfigured. Trev's on a roll, isn't he? Trev's the hot one. Unfortunately, but Trevor, Dave and Pete were long life buddies. Great friends who really enjoyed each other's company. Sorry, fellas, Trevor said, as he realised he'd been caught out and that further excuses were futile. Resistance is futile, as we know. He just glanced at Jane, somewhat behind her back, as if to indicate that it was all down to her. You could always see Jane's brain working as she took in what had just been said, and she turned very deliberately to Trevor. Raging toothache? Is that what you refer to me as? She asked with annoyance in her voice. No, love, he replied. Once again, Trevor was lost for words. Well, no, he's not. He said no, love. So he obviously wasn't lost for words because he said no, love. You don't need to say any more, said Dave, half laughing and changing the subject so as to get Trevor off the hook with Jane. You single men with girlfriends, I don't know. You need to make up excuses to your mates for taking the lady out to the cinema. It's all changes when you're married, you know. You can give the wife a couple of quid to go and get a video on Friday night while you go down the pub. Or don't get a girlfriend like Pete here. Then you don't get any of the hassle at all, he said as he looked Pete's way. Well, if you're out of the cinema before closing time, we may see you in the Red Lion, ? Now, interesting. But you don't get hassle if you haven't got a girlfriend. I'm sure you get hassle. I'm sure you're like, your mum's like, why haven't you got a girlfriend? But anyway. Well, the conversation has been going on. Pete had been looking around, twitching his nose like a hamster sniffing out where a smell was coming from. But he could contain himself no more. Twitching his nose like a hamster sniffing out where a smell was coming from. That is not the animal I would think of looking for a smell. Basset hound. That's the type of thing that would be looking for a smell. The well-known hamster... you go to airports, don't you? And there's sniffer hamsters everywhere. Those sniffer hamsters, they're really good for detecting drugs. Those sniffer hamsters. Yeah, I know. The police, they come down to the crack den, down the road with their hamsters. And they're there, sniffing away, looking for drugs, aren't they? Both. So I love the idea of a sniffer hamster wearing a little hamster at work, like the dogs do, like the sniffer dogs do with their little outfits, with their little high vis on. We're saying dogs at work or whatever it is, but the security dog sniffing out, and we've got all these little hamsters running around going, "We will fight with drugs." What do? Shove it in their pouches and just like carry it off, like they do with all the broccoli that you give them. And so I just don't know. I'm really confused now. But these sniffer hamsters that I have been missing out on. I just thought hamsters was just a really, really rubbish pet that only came out at night. But now I know more. I'm waiting for the next episode of Planet Earth, where David Attenborough highlights the sniffing ability of the hamster, and not a dog or anything like that, or anything that's known for smelling things. Anyway, phew, he exclaimed. Phew, he exclaimed. What's that smell? Has someone just guffed? Guffed. This is getting good today. Guffed. Who uses the word guffed? I think we're using some old language here. Guffed. I haven't had someone say guffed. Next he'll be saying squeezed cheese. But yeah, core blimey. This is a bit of a strong one, Dave said, as he also latched onto it. Sorry guys, it's me, admitted Trevor. Or to be exact, it's my shoe. Blimey, said Dave. Have you ever thought about investing in a pair of odour eaters? No, replied Trevor. I've just trodden in some dog's crap. Dog looked down at Trevor's shoes. Well, think yourself lucky you got it on those shoes and not your trainers. That dog must have had a curry for lunch, said Pete. No. Well, probably did. Who knows? Who cares? But I'm not sure that it would have changed the stench of a dog poo. I tell you what, I will go and ask someone who has a dog. There's a few people I know with dogs, and we'll find out. I think that's the other question is. So we've got to ask questions, haven't we, of Google? One is, can dogs eat curry? Which he'll probably have an answer for, to be honest. I wonder if I can do it now. Give me a sec. Let's ask Google. Okay, Google. Can dogs eat curry?
According to Quora, most curries are a spicy dish which also contain other ingredients that are bad for dogs, such as onions and garlic. Curry can cause upset stomach, vomiting, diarrhea, along with many other uncomfortable symptoms.
So there we go. I don't know if you heard that or not. Got some music playing. Yes, so if that is the case, then it wouldn't have had a crusty outer layer, would it? Because we now know it gives the dogs a runny bottom, makes them vomit. So it wouldn't have had a crusty layer, and it wouldn't have had a squishy inner, because that would indicate a round poo, not a flat pancake. So I'm glad we've covered that. Sorry, enough is enough, said Dave. It stinks something rotten. We're off. Don't bring that smell down to a pub with you later. And both he and Pete walked off, Pete clasping the end of his nose to stop the smell from entering it. Okie dokie, said Trevor. I'll try and see you later. Cheerio, Dave shouted back. I think you're going down the pub after the film. You've got a... Oh, sorry. If you think you're going down the pub after the film, you've got another thing coming. And that poo on your shoe stinks. Can't you do something about it? Jane asked Trevor. By this time, the other couples in the queue immediately in front and behind Trevor had either shuffled forwards or backwards retrospectively. We got a retrospectively. Didn't we have that a minute ago? Hold on, let's go back. What was it? No, I don't think it was retrospective. Respectively, and now we've got a retrospectively. Is that an old version of a spectively? Anyway, in order to avoid the smell that was emanating from Trevor's shoes, the queue then started moving forwards. Trevor had a quick thought, then groped in his trouser pocket for some money. Here you are. Here's the money for the tickets. I'll just nip to the toilet to get this stuff off my shoe, he said as he handed a couple of £10 notes to Jane. Jane took the money and watched Trevor as he hobbled towards the head of the queue, trying to avoid placing his right foot fully on the ground. Look, I can only say they should have just booked online, shouldn't they? We should have just booked it online. He wouldn't have had to give her money. They would have already got the ticket, so he could have just gone up to the front of the queue, saying, sorry, I've trodden in some poo, can I use your loos? And here's my ticket. As he passed each couple, there were momentary delay before they all turned up their noses and made muffled moans about the smell. Trevor disappeared into the cinema foyer and made his way to the men's toilets. I'm glad he made his ways to the men's toilets and not the women's toilets, because then this book will take a devious and nasty turn. He felt his luck was in when he entered the lavatory to find it was completely empty, and he could sort out his problem undisturbed. That's interesting that he went to the male's toilets and entered the lavatory. Now, if he said entered the toilets, fine. Did we need to use the word lavatory there? Because lavatory would normally indicate the actual toilet itself. He's made his way to the nearest cubicle and closed the door behind him. Oh, that's unusual. Did he need to close it? Yeah, I suppose he did. After grabbing a large handful of toilet tissue from a dispenser, he started to wipe the excrement from the sole of the side of his shoes. I know you're really enjoying this. I know it's really gripping, but I'm now thinking that I might actually have to go and do the school run. Oh no, parents are still there. We're not moving. And oh my God, we actually made it to 20 minutes. So this is the longest episode I've done. And I'm going to leave you on the poo stuff. Because let's face it, there's nothing like a nail biter than poo on a shoe. Actually, you don't want to bite your nails if you've got poo on your shoe, do you? Anyway, on that note, thank you again for listening. Well, I'll probably do. I'm too excited for this. I might do another podcast later. Sorry about that. Anyway, right. Well, enjoy, and I will. Have fun.